Boom, we are back. This is Nick. Listen, Sean King, an author, he said this: my theory on momentum is that the best way to produce it is through small, hard fought victories that lead to bigger battles and bigger wins. Winning, rather, builds momentum. So, on this episode, I want to dive into what my mental health crisis has taught me about momentum and how it affects the mind. So before I jump into the content today, I want to invite you to a free community that we have for men called Recreated Man. In this space, it's a safe space for men that want to learn, heal, and grow. And look, if you're a man out there and you feel stuck, you feel frustrated, and you're really just trying to figure out how to live your purpose, to really just live your power and live your God-given position, this is a community for you. It's free to join, man. We do monthly meetups. We do the challenges just to help us engage, man. And it's really all about learning, healing, and growing. And so I'll drop a link down below where you can check it out at recreatedman.com. Let's get into this content. So back in 2021, I was probably one of the darkest places I've ever been mentally in my own life. It was the first time that I had really experienced depression and, really being in clearly a season and depression in depression. And what was so interesting about that time, man, is that nothing during that time seemed to help, right? Nothing seemed to feel right. And I was just in a moment, man, where I just felt like I just could not figure out normal things that I'd be usually able to figure out in life. I just couldn't figure out what the next step is. And for me, the majority of my life, I've been so used to being able to know what the next step needs to be, know what the next move needs to be, know how to make those moves. And, in 2021, I was in such a dark place that I just could not figure out what to do next and what the next move needed to be. And quite frankly, if I could be honest about it, it was probably the most frightening and scariest time that I had ever really experienced. And what was strange about that whole situation was that if I were to backtrack 6 months before then, I was in a completely different season. During that time, 6 months prior, me and my wife, we had set a goal to pay off all of our debt except for our home. And he really worked hard on that. And it really freed up so much just energy and so much time and so much focus in our life to be able to pay that off. It was the first time that me and my wife, we had really even been in a position like that in life in general. For most of everybody that we knew, most of our lives, people were in debt. People were kind of struggling with debt. So we never really been in this position where we didn't have to worry about these debt payments and worry about all these things that were coming up on a monthly basis. And so we were freed from that. When it came to my business and real estate, everything was going great. I was getting new clients consistently, getting in front of people, man, being able to put houses under contract and just making probably more money than I had ever made. Wife during that season as well, the 6 months prior to my situation, she had resigned from school as a high school teacher and she had decided to pursue her music full time. And so this is what we were doing and this is what she was doing. And so it was just a really great season just to be in, man. Things were happening, things were flowing. The children, they were, my kids were happy, they were engaged. We were spending a lot of quality time together. It was the first time in the whole time we really kind of been married, and since we've had children, that we actually went on a vacation. We took our kids on an actual vacation. We left, did that, and for so many years we never took a vacation. We were just always working or always busy. And so that season was an amazing season. And then all of a sudden, 6 months later, boom, I crashed, man. I crashed. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't know what happened. It was the main question that I kept asking myself is what in the world just happened 6 months ago? Everything was good. Life seemed like it was good. And now all of a sudden I feel like I'm hitting this brick wall. And so it had me starting to think. And I started to think about what was the cause of this crash in my life. Because think about it, a lot of times all of us, we're going to have these seasons. We're going to have seasons of our life that things aren't clicking. It's just part of life, man. Life can be hard like that. But I really wanted to know what was going on and kind of why it felt like I was hitting a wall so hard. And when I started reflecting and I started thinking back, I realized that micro habits that I was building in my life and in my business were able to help create all this momentum and really generate a lot of success and generate a lot of things that I wanted to see happen. And so I reflected back on that time and I realized, okay, during that time period, I only had one job when it came to business, when it came to work, and that was just to make one phone call. That's the only thing I focused on, was just one phone call. If I got up in the morning and I knew I was going to be working, my only focus was, by the end of the day, it didn't matter what was going on, it didn't matter what happened, I was going to make at least one phone call to a prospect. And doing that over time helped me build this momentum where I was able to, really be able to enjoy some of this success. And when I look back, I realized that when I hit this wall, I had stopped doing the very little things that seemed small, but they were making the biggest impact in my life at that moment. In this case, it was the one phone call. That was my little thing that I had to do every single day. But what I didn't understand, and I didn't recognize until I reflected on it in this time, was that doing that little tiny habit every single day, no matter what, no matter rain or shine, hell or high water, we're doing it every single day. What doing that tiny habit did for me was it helped me to start building momentum in life. One thing, one success, one win would stack on top of the other, would stack on top of the other, would stack on top of the other. And before you know it, there's this train of momentum that's going. And so I went from making sure I made that one call to maybe making a call every other day, and then to making a call, once a week, and then to making a call maybe once every couple of weeks. So I stopped doing the thing that was building this momentum in my life. And I made the connection on how important it is for our mental health to be building momentum in some type of area. See, the reason I feel like this works is that, when you have a small win and then you add another small win over it, and then you add another small win over it, you feel like a winner because you're having these wins. These wins are happening. These things are happening. The train is moving forward, and you're building this momentum. And mentally, you start saying, you know what? I can do this. I can accomplish this goal. I can make this happen if I keep making these little steps moving forward. And before you know it, you're taking these tiny steps, and then all of a sudden you're running and you're racing and you're going and you're moving. And I realized for me, to keep myself mentally healthy, I need to be in a place where I'm learning, I'm building, and I'm building that momentum and continuing that momentum to go. Now, where I feel like this really plays a place, it plays so many different parts in all the areas of our lives. When you look at relationships, within my marriage, we've been married, we're going into our 13th year of marriage. And there are little things that we have to do every single day that's building momentum and having a good relationship. When it comes to my kids, there's these little habits that I have to do every single day that builds momentum for me in order to have good relationships with my children, in business, in friendship, in finances, all these different areas. Once I start building momentum, it does something healthy for my mind. I'm not talking about getting all bent out of shape and overworking. I'm not talking about being a workaholic. I'm talking about taking those tiny habits and letting momentum help you move forward, especially when it comes to our mental health and when it comes to our mental well-being. That connection that we have between our momentum and our mental health is, and it's a connection that we have to be mindful of. And that really kind of motivates me, and I think it should motivate you too, where when I realized that, okay, it was just the small things, those tiny things that I kept on doing that was building this momentum, giving me these wins that were keeping me in a good space mentally. And so, summary, momentum, it can help the mind by providing the motivation that we need. It can help by providing the direction that we need. It can help by providing a sense of accomplishment that we need. And it can build a resilience and a strength mentally when we're on this momentum train and we keep moving forward. So I want to encourage you on this Mindset Mondays, look at the tiny habits that you have in your life, Figure out how you can take those habits and stack them over and over and over and over again so you have those wins so that you can start building momentum in different areas of your life, and watch how that momentum helps you mentally, helps you overall, and most importantly, it helps you accomplish the things that you're looking to accomplish. That's all I have for you on this Mindset Mondays. Listen, like I mentioned before, if you're a man out there, you feel stuck, you feel frustrated, you're just trying to figure some things out, we have a free community called Recreated Man. Every month we do monthly check-ins. We talk about things like this, and we just kind of recap life and try and be a benefit and be a blessing to each other. So I'll link that down below. Definitely check that out. It's free, no cost to you. You can come in, maybe add some value and have some value put back in your life as well. But this has been Nick with the Life Recreated podcast. Listen, until next time, keep learning, keep healing, and keep growing. Peace.